Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We're literally building a bridge between ancient Ayurvedic traditions and modern, cutting-edge laboratory science. We're looking at a plant that's been revered for thousands of years, and, well, we're going to see exactly what happens when we put those ancient claims right under the microscope. Let's get into it.
But before we get to the heavy science, let's talk about you. Have you ever been right in the middle of a super busy day and suddenly, bam, you feel your brain just completely block up? It's that heavy, sluggish feeling of mental exhaustion, stress, and just an absolute lack of clarity that we casually call brain fog. It's a universally relatable experience, right? Especially in our fast-paced world. You can't focus, you can't remember the tiny details, and it feels like your mental engine has just totally stalled out. Well, according to ancient Ayurvedic tradition, there's actually been a solution to this mental fatigue for centuries. It's a plant traditionally known as Mandukaparni, though you might actually know it better by its common name, Gotu Kola. For generations, practitioners have hailed this humble little green creeper as the ultimate memory enhancer. They see it as a powerful brain tonic, specifically designed to clear that fog and restore your mental sharpness. And get this, the traditional Ayurvedic preparation method is surprisingly precise. Practitioners recommend taking exactly 10 fresh Gotu Kola leaves, no more, no less, washing them thoroughly, and then crushing them in a traditional mortar and pestle. The goal is to extract the fresh juice, which is known as swarasa. Traditional wisdom even goes as far as to suggest drinking a spoonful on specific, highly auspicious astrological days to really maximize those memory-boosting benefits. Pretty fascinating, right? All right, part one, inside the Gotu Kola plant. Let's dive in. So when scientists actually analyze the chemical architecture of Gotu Kola, they find an incredibly rich profile of active compounds. If you look specifically at asiaticoside and madecassoside, I know, a mouthful, right? These aren't just random chemicals. They are the primary active ingredients driving the plant's medicinal properties. These complex-sounding chemicals actually belong to a broader class called triterpenoids. Basically, think of triterpenoids as the biological engines of the Gotu Kola plant. Research shows they possess extremely strong antioxidant properties. Now, why does this matter for your brain fog? Well, cognitive decline and mental fatigue are heavily linked to inflammation and oxidative stress in the brain. It's kind of like rust building up on a car. But these triterpenoids, they actually cross the blood-brain barrier and actively work to lower that stress, literally protecting your neurons. Moving right along to part two, curing brain fog, the science. Okay, let's look at a truly fascinating study done on mice suffering from mild cognitive impairment. Researchers used the Morris Water maze, which is a classic test of spatial memory and learning speed. The control group, the mice without the extract, took an average of about 45 seconds to find the hidden platform. But the mice given a high dose of Gotu Kola, they found it in just under 29 seconds. That is a huge difference. Furthermore, biochemical analysis showed these mice had higher levels of acetylcholine, which is an absolutely crucial neurotransmitter for learning. In the lab, it's a dramatic and undeniable success. But hey, here is where we need to look at the science completely impartially. When we compare that spectacular mice data with human meta-analyses, a much more nuanced picture emerges. A systematic review of 11 randomized controlled trials looking at hundreds of human patients found that Gotu Kola does significantly increase alertness and even decreases feelings of anger within just 1 hour of treatment. That's pretty quick. However, across the board, the human data currently shows no massive, statistically significant leaps in overall cognitive improvement or memory compared to a placebo. So it definitely improves mood and alertness, kind of clearing out the fog, but it isn't quite the magic memory pill for humans that it appears to be for mice. Which brings us to part three, beyond the brain, skin healing. Now, whether you're looking at modern pharmaceutics or traditional Ayurveda, both sides completely agree on applying Gotu Kola directly to the skin. Those same triterpenoids we discussed earlier, they do absolute wonders topically. Modern studies confirm it significantly enhances collagen production and greatly improves skin hydration. In fact, Ayurvedic tradition has long recommended taking the very same fresh leaf juice we talked about earlier and applying it directly to cuts to dramatically accelerate wound healing. It's a real multi-tool of a plant. All right, part four, the big question, is Gotu Kola safe? To answer this, modern science has subjected Gotu Kola to some seriously extensive preclinical toxicity studies. Researchers have rigorously tested these extracts on mice, rats, and even zebrafish embryos. They're analyzing everything from acute oral toxicity to subchronic daily exposure, constantly looking for any signs of cellular damage or behavioral changes. And the results give us this incredibly massive number, greater than 2,000 milligrams per kilogram. Now, in toxicology, they measure something called the LD50, which is the dose required to be lethal to 50% of the test population. For Gotu Kola, the LD50 is incredibly high. This means the acute toxicity of the plant is astonishingly low. Honestly, you have to consume a truly immense, totally impractical amount of the plant to even reach acute toxic levels.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is this. Gotu Kola is generally very well tolerated, especially in the standard clinical doses of 250 to 500 milligrams. However, scientific integrity means we gotta highlight the caveats, right? While the safety margin is excellent, there have been some very rare clinical case reports of individuals developing liver issues, specifically granulomatous hepatitis, after prolonged continuous use over several months. Now, the symptoms did clear up when they stopped taking it, but it just goes to prove that even with safe natural remedies, moderation and cycling are key. You can't just overdo it.
So, that leaves us here. We've seen a plant utilized for literally millennia for memory and wound healing, which is now validated by modern chemistry to reduce oxidative stress, boost alertness, and stimulate collagen. It's just a beautiful synergy of history and science. And honestly, it begs a fascinating question. As we continue to rigorously test and bridge ancient wisdom with modern data, what other traditional remedies might be hiding in plain sight, holding the key to our modern ailments? Think about it. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and as always, stay curious.